Hey team, so you've decided that you're going to acquire a business rather than starting from scratch. Great idea. But it takes time to find that business that you're wanting to buy, and a very aggressive search process takes about 6 months, and search funds will only allow their searchers to search for a maximum of 24, right? And so the thing is that how is it that the majority of people who start to look for a business never actually close on one? Why do they fail, and what can we do to sort of bridge that gap? And that's what we're going to talk about today. My name is Walker Deibel. I am the Wall Street Journal bestselling author of Buy Then Build and creator of Acquisition Lab. So here's the deal. You've decided that there's something that you want. Okay, we're going to use green for that because the things that I want are usually money. Okay, so over here on this axis on the far side is results. Okay, results. And the thing is that in order to get results tend to be completely exponential in gaining them, right? So you've got a little bit of results at the beginning and usually a lot of results at the end, right? And it's not usually a linear process. It's something that, over time kind of goes like this, and then the closer you get to the time of execution, the faster it starts to accelerate, okay? Data supports all of this stuff. I'm not completely making this up, but everyone watching this is probably familiar with exponential growth of results. So on the other hand, I'm going to go ahead and call this effort, okay? And we usually come out really strong, like really up here, and then over time, it sort of gets easier and easier to sort of do certain things, and you maybe put less effort towards getting these results, okay? Now, what's interesting about this sort of graph, and this on the bottom here is of course time, okay? And what's happening here, okay, is that if you look at this sort of like effort results, pendulum, okay, you'll see that, right here is that sort of part where you've got, you're sort of getting worn out on your effort. Your effort is starting to reach a sort of low, but your results haven't yet come about, right? And the thing with searching for a business to buy, I always recommend you start with one. Even people that want to go out and build a portfolio, I think that that's wonderful, but most of the time you should just buy one and figure it out because you've got this learning curve, which we're going to talk about next. So the thing that I want to kind of lay on top of this, okay, and right here, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and identify this as the valley of despair, okay? It's where you're putting in all this time, but you haven't got any results. And so most people, if you just kind of go, let's just say a standard deviation off of, mu, as it were, on either side, this is going to be, sort of like the danger zone where average people are going to live, because that's just where people are. And then 2, this is where your search fails, okay? It's just this low point, all right? If you are a self-funded searcher, this is a critical juncture, okay? And what's weird about, the single sponsor, search fund model is they sort of like have this false sense of effort because you think you have all this money. So I usually see, it changes the graph. It shifts the sort of valley over to like month 23 actually, right? So let's go ahead and do that, right? So this is like month 0. Here's maybe a month 6. We'll call this 12, and all the way over here will be 24, okay? Here's the point. Sometimes, someone out there I have friends who weren't thinking about buying a business, and they end up getting a call because they already own a business that's similar, and they end up like not even going on a search and buying a business in the first day, okay? I know this happens. 6 months is, it's atypical. It's atypical, but it happens, right? If you get out there and, you just have there's a component of luck, right? That moves into how this moves. But of course, hard work brings luck to us. But here's the other thing I want to talk about, which is the Dobson-Crater effect, okay? And what that means is, and this is really super interesting. This is a cognitive bias that humans have, okay? And of course, it's not all of us, but it's definitely some of us. And what you have here is that you go, you embrace a new thing that you want to kind of conquer, right? And you say, okay, I'm going to go get smart about this landscape and this segment in terms of what we're going to do. And so what you do is you go out and you get as smart as you possibly can really quickly, right? And on a subject, you go all in. You sign up for the online course. You read the 3 books. Like whatever it is. And the thing is you get really, instead of effort, let's call this confidence. Okay, confidence. Confidence is what that says. But so you get really confident, and what's really funny is you believe that you know a lot about this subject, okay? But you have this kind of like false sense of mastery, and you're really confident in what it is that what's going on. And so this right here is sort of what I'm going to call the king of ignorance. You've got just enough to be dangerous, right? You've mastered, search, all these things, you're the loudest person at the party talking about how you're going to buy a business. Okay. And then what starts to happen is that as you start to learn more about everything that's involved and all of the fragmentation of the marketplace, and maybe you didn't need that CRM the way you set it up. Maybe you didn't need to do proprietary outreach the way that you did. Maybe, all of these, maybe you don't know how to evaluate a business. Maybe you don't know how to analyze a business. Maybe it's really hard to get bank financing because you didn't have all the right things in place, right? And so what happens is you start to learn more about what it is that's going on, and you start to sort of think to yourself, wow, I have no idea. And you begin to increase your knowledge, right? Knowledge. But your confidence is lowered. Okay, this happens to all of us. Like all of us that went to school. At some point, you start to say, like, am I built for this? This is like really hard, right? And so this is that point where not only is your effort lowering, not only do you not have results, but also your confidence starts to waver, and other people around you start to say, hey, are you sure about this whole buying a business thing? I know you read Buy Then Build. I know it's the best book I've ever read, but this is hard, right? And this takes time and effort, and you quit your job to go full time, whatever it is. But the thing is that you start to ascend. If you stay on it, you can continue to put one leg in front of the other, one foot in front of the other, and you begin to learn and you expand what it is you're doing, who it is you're communicating with, you're working case studies, you're looking at all these things. You start to ascend this, mountain of knowledge, okay? Mountain of knowledge. So down here, I would almost call, if this is ignorance, I would call this like, overwhelm, okay? Overwhelm. But once you get out of it, okay, once you work through, you now coincidentally have a level of confidence equal to when you were a beginner. Okay, and this is what I'm going to call mastery, okay? Mastery. The problem with becoming a master at search is that this whole process starts over again, okay? And you buy a business and you've got to learn to operate a small business, and or you grew through acquisition and now you have to figure out, like, the merging the culture, merging the systems, like all of these things. There's always this learning curve, right? And right at the beginning on closing day, you're like, I got this. This is gonna be great. And that's good. You need that vibrant energy. But then you realize this isn't, I didn't have all the information, right? And a lot of things in life are like that. Search is like this. Running a business is like this. And this is also why I say start with one, guys. Don't go out there and, try to buy 6 companies all at once, because what happens is this starts to happen in at least one of them, and if it happens in all 6 at the same time, and you're doing it with personally guaranteed debt, which is the easiest way to get money for this stuff, then it's just a lot can go wrong all at the same time. You're piling risk on before you've reached mastery, okay? And that's why I say buy one. Start with one, right? So how do you get from here to there? Well, obviously you just do the work. You do the actions that lead to the outcome that you want, right? But the thing that's interesting is that, what we know, the earliest data suggested that only 10% of people that initiated starting to buy a business actually ended up closing on one, right? And today, I can tell you, as recently as 2022, from the Stanford Search Fund study that even fully sponsored searches, like I'm paying you to search, you've got, you know, all the money, or you have investors or whatever it is, a third of them fail to close on a business. So at best, this is going to be, given the best circumstances, Ivy League education, money, you know, all the rest of it, this is like 70% success rate just on the search side. Okay, there's whole other numbers on the running a business side, of course, right? But so the concept here is, you know, when you are in the early stages, okay, and okay, one more thing before I get there. Keep your head low, okay? Get a feedback loop with mentors and get lots of assistance in terms of accelerating through this as much. Once you see this and you understand what you're trying to do and how long it's going to take, you can, you know, avoid this peak, and you can start to actually accelerate the results and mastery curve faster. Okay, you bring that to you. Okay, and if you've ever seen someone who, well, let's just go ahead and pick buying businesses. If you've ever seen someone who is all over the place as a really confident person about buying businesses, I mean, you know, look, I'm hesitant to give information. I sat on Buy Then Build for a year before I even published it because I was too nervous about, like, you know, wait, do I really understand what I'm doing and all the rest of it? And do I really want to put this out there? I've been buying companies now for 20 years. I've been involved in 300 transactions. I've just seen a lot of different things, and I've seen a lot of different patterns. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's, you know, I'm hesitant to give advice because it's like, okay, what do I not know about this one thing? Whereas you can easily get on social media and find people who have been doing this for less than a year, and they're extremely competent, and they're gonna win the social award because they haven't quite gotten here yet. They haven't been through different economic cycles. They haven't had large volumes of employees quit in a single day. They haven't had big customers leave, or had to have the challenge of going out and growing a small business through like organic sales, right? So you see that a lot, where you kind of think to yourself, like, why is this person president? I shouldn't say that, but it's one of these where at some time in your life you might be thinking this person doesn't have any experience or whatever. We see it over and over and over, and again, that doesn't apply to all of us. But the thing is surround yourself by mentors, learn as much as you can. But the real truth is that whenever you are in a state of overwhelm, it's all about taking action. If you're like, I'm in mental overload, I don't know what to do, okay? You need to pick something and you need to take action on that thing, because the results come. So you just stick to it and do the actions that lead to those. So also, as someone who is a partner at a brokerage firm, I can tell you that we see all the data, okay? We can see who's actually looking at deals and who's actually closing. And here's the truth, is that it's the same people, right? So the people that actually close on a business, I mean, they'll look at over 100 deals before they actually end up closing. My first search took me, let's say I started in 2004. I didn't buy till the end of 2006. It probably took me a little longer than 24 months, honestly. But no one was doing what I was doing. I didn't have anyone to talk to. It was so weird to try to figure out. When the SBA laws changed in 2016, and I decided that I wanted to buy an online business for the first time because I could, based on the new laws, the new rules at SBA at that time. Not only had I looked at thousands of deals by that point, but I probably got really far and made aggressive offers on 2 or 3 before I was able to actually close on one. So there's a series of things that sort of comes about in this process, okay? Do the things that lead to the outcome you want. Surround yourself with mentors, and just get smart. Get as much of the best knowledge as you can. We built Acquisition Lab to be the elite provider of acquisition accelerators for acquisition entrepreneurs wanting to buy a business. We anchor in world-class education, vetted community, tools, resources, supplier network, and we've got about 12 coaches on staff right now. almost every single day there's a different person, because I want to bring the diamond approach to coaching so that you can talk to many different people who have acquired a business. And there's no one right answer in the private capital markets. There's no one guru that can tell you everything you need to know. You need to get all of the different fragmented experiences and pull them together for your own truth. And that's how we engineered the lab and its DNA. I can't over stress the importance of the vetted community that we've built. Just in this last cohort, we've had over 20% of them went to either Harvard or Stanford, just in one, and that doesn't include the other, let's just say ranked universities, master's degrees that were represented there. It's a real blessing for me to be in this group. So check out acquisitionlab.com, and we'll see you on the inside.